What is a monument that you guys visited and absolutely loved? What about it did you guys love? Was it the features of it, the shape of it, or even the area that it was built in? For me personally, it was the Eiffel Tower for all of those reasons. This past February, I had the chance to go visit, and I visited it twice. And while I was there, I had the chance to learn about the history of the Eiffel Tower, as well as see the many famous features of the tower. Standing at 1,000 feet tall and over 100 years old, the Eiffel Tower is one of the most famous and one of the most visited monuments in the world, with almost 7 million visitors a year. Its rich history and many famous features is what attracts people from all parts of the world to go see it. And many people may say the Eiffel Tower is boring or overrated, but its history does make it a little bit more interesting and exciting to learn about. For the next few minutes, I will first be discussing the history of the Eiffel Tower and why it was built. Then I will be discussing the designer of the tower as well as the whole design process. And third, I will be discussing the construction and the features that made it famous. But before I discuss the features, I will be going into the history of it and the designer. So in 1889, Paris was celebrating the 100-year anniversary of the French Revolution. This was a huge deal at the time, so to celebrate, they held an event called the Exposition Universelle, or the World's Fair. The author writes in their June 2019 article for History.com that more than 100 artists submitted competing plans for a monument to be built on Champ de Mars, located in central Paris, and to serve as the exposition's entrance. So out of the 107 artists that submitted a design to be put in central Paris on Champ de Mars, only one was chosen, and that was Gustave Eiffel's design. Elizabeth Palmero explains in an article for Live Science that the tower was constructed to commemorate the centennial of the French Revolution and to demonstrate France's industrial prowess to the world. And who better to pick than to do that was Gustave Eiffel, who was a creative genius in his time. Eiffel had accomplished many things in his life, and by 1866 he had created his own company after designing the Arch Gallery of Machines in Paris for the Paris Exposition of 1867, and after he had done that, he had created a great reputation for himself. His reputation grew even more after taking over the designing of the Statue of Liberty in New York after the original designer had died. That is the reason why he was appointed to continue designing the Eiffel Tower, because he was so well known and his design was so unique that is what France wanted to show as a symbol of their power. So now that I have talked about the history on why it was built and who designed it, I will be going into how people felt about the tower and their emotions about it. So because the Eiffel Tower was different from any monument constructed during the time, many people had mixed emotions. In the 1998 article for Britannica, the author explains that Eiffel's concept of a 300-meter tower built out of almost entirely of open lattice iron aroused amazement, skepticism, and no little opposition on aesthetic grounds. So many people were feeling mixed emotions. Many people thought that the tower wasn't going to be an eyesore or that it would cost too much as well. But despite the negative criticism, Eiffel and his team continued designing the tower, and it would become as famous as it is today. So lastly, I'm going to be going into the construction of the tower. So the Eiffel Tower's complexity made it difficult to complete, and because of its complexity, it took exactly 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days to complete with the help of 300 workers. According to the author on the official Eiffel Tower website, after going through 5,300 workshop designs, the final design of the Eiffel Tower took over 18,038 metallic parts, 2.5 million rivets, 7,300 tons of iron, and 60 tons of paint. It stands at 1,000 36 feet tall to be exact when it was first built, and it was the tallest structure in the world until 1930 when the Chrysler Building was constructed in New York City. The tower also has 3 platforms all the way to the top that can be reached by walking the stairs or by the elevator lift. 2 of its platforms have restaurants, the first and the second platforms, which are both highly frequented, and from my experience, book 6 months in advance, please. So I hope that I have been able to give you guys a better understanding of the history of the Eiffel Tower and its creation, so you guys can understand why it is as famous as it is today. With its rich history and the many years of design and construction put into it, the Eiffel Tower is a monument that stands out from the rest. It is not only a symbol of the French's victory in the French Revolution, but it is now a symbol of France as a whole. And if you guys ever visit one day, you guys will learn so much more. Thank you.